All right. On the line with us right now, Super Bowl hero, Super Bowl champion, one of our favorites, a man who inspires happiness wherever he goes with $1 million smile, Brandon Graham on the line. Brandon, how are you, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. How you doing, Mark and Bob?
Good, buddy.
We're doing great. Now, look. Now, here's the deal. I've been in that locker room, and I know how it goes. You go to one player and you say, "Hey, this other player said this about you. What do you think?" I'm not even telling you the quote. I'm letting you hear it right from the horse's mouth himself, Fletcher Cox. How do you respond to those allegations?
Oh, man, he put me out there, but it was all fun. Until I got told on.
So what is this? This was like some kind of spray that you would put out there?
Yeah, it's like it's a fart spray. And people was they was I just thought about it. It popped up on my phone somehow, and I was like, man, let me go get this. And I went on Amazon and got some. And man, it was so funny because they didn't know who was doing what.
who dimed you out? Who finally tagged you as the person that was doing it?
Al Barbray. That's who the O-lineman.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's been a minute because I haven't messed with it in a long time. I still got some, but I haven't messed with it in a long time because it really do stink, and you gotta kind of scrub it out.
It lingers?
Like a skunk?
It lingers for like a day or two.
Oh, God.
The football somehow magically. But, like, how important is, like, stuff like that to a locker room to keep things light and fun?
Oh, man, that's what it's about. You can't be uptight. You gotta learn to have some fun, especially if you want to win. Because you know how it go. When you can trust your brothers next to you, and you've been through some stuff with your brothers. That's just part of it. And so those good memories to have. Some people might not like it. Everybody ain't gonna like it, but majority of the people liked it because once they found out, it was me, they were just making sure it wasn't nothing dead in there.
Now, were you targeting a specific player? Was it Alan Barbray? Who was it?
No, it was around the old linemen. Like, they got us lined up. When you come in the locker room, everybody's kind of spread out. So I went down there with Jason Kelsey and all the old linemen be like Jason Peters and them. And they was blaming each other. So it was so funny. That's what made it even worse.
Did you have an accomplice at all, Brandon, or was it totally you alone?
Oh, it was Fletch knew because Fletch next to me, so he knew. I had told him, but if I don't tell nobody, Fletch don't tell nobody else, and then I felt like that's what kind of happened. Fletch was, you know how it goes. You gonna tell somebody, and then that somebody gonna tell somebody.
Now, was this something that was speaking with Brandon Graham, like keeping it light in the locker room, doing whatever, like pranks, whatever they might be? Was this something that, like, veterans told you should do when you were a rookie? Like, was this, like, what would Trent Cole think about you doing that?
Oh, T. Cole would have been the one trying to do it. He would have been the reason.
That's
amazing. That's what it's about, though. Like, it's about having fun in the locker room. It's already serious enough when you get on that field. But, let's, we try to make it fun, especially for rookies coming in.
Now, the other thing that he kind of snitched you out on here was the trash talk. And we heard you, when you've been mic'd up, referring to, I don't know if you're referring to other players as chicken sandwiches, or you're saying they have chicken sandwiches that you would like to obtain.
No, I was saying, those, everybody was, during them time, the Popeye chicken sandwich was real hot. And so I was talking about that's what I want, as far as sacks. I was saying that as a sack.
Oh, okay.
Y'all giving them out today. Y'all giving out the Popeye chicken sandwiches.
Have you really called Lyle Collins just a fat boy?
Oh yeah, it's fun, especially against him because you're talking about a serious player. As far as don't crack a smile, none of that. You know what I'm saying? That's him. Even when I'm talking stuff to him. Even if I'm throwing my good stuff, what I'm saying? It's like he's still, like, so serious. So that's what made me want to beat him even more.
Is it better going after a guy that has that kind of attitude, Brandon? A guy that's too serious as opposed to a guy that'll have fun with you?
Oh, yeah, because, you can get in his head after a while, because he is the type that's gonna try to come look for you, especially when you're talking and stuff like that. I live for it. So I'm excited, man, for the season.
Now, speaking of which, what is it like? I mean, you can't be in the locker room right now, unfortunately. You're still doing the Zoom meetings. How is all this prep going for a season that is still, a lot of people have questions about?
You know what? I'm taking care of what I can, and that's making sure I'm in shape. So when camp comes, we could just get in football shape because it's a total difference. But I'm not really worried at all. I really do believe that it's gonna be a season this year. I really do believe it's too much money out there for us not to have a season.
Oh, when we talked to you about 2 months ago, Brandon, you said the same thing, and I'm with you. I think it happens. What are the players saying about feeling safe amongst each other, about any protocol that's been coming out? Because so far, at least from the Eagles locker room, we've heard that you guys feel like if the NFL gives a green light, we're ready to go.
Oh, yeah. We ready to go. I don't want to have to sit out a year, because it's kind of hard to gauge when you're working out and then say it's not a season. So now what do I do? Do I have to sit back and, wait a month or two before I actually get started again? Take some time. It's definitely tough, having to plan a whole year out again, So I think that,
there's a listing that came out here. People love lists in the world of sports, and they had Doug Peterson ranked behind guys like Sean McVay, who last I checked lost the Super Bowl. They had him ranked at number 7. I would say that your head coach is a top 5 coach in the NFL. What do you think about him not making it to top 5?
Man, you hitting it right there, man. He's a great coach, and players coach at that. Somebody who's always for his players and trying to make everything easy for you, so that when you go out on that field, you don't have too much to worry about. So I think you got him right there in top 5. He in my top 5 too.
Brandon, COVID health concerns, if we can put them aside, you're going into a season which we know is so different. And as you said, working out is so tough. What are your concerns going into the season, maybe not just for you personally, but as a whole, of how the NFL will be different starting this year?
Well, it's going to be different because if somebody get it, now you got to quarantine for a week or two, I'm saying, depending on what they mandate. And so I think that that's going to be the hard thing. You might lose a guy because of COVID, for the week, depending on, what's going on and how they do it. But that's the biggest thing is, for me is during the season, things rise and things get out of control. And then, we have to stop the season, mid-season because it's just too many guys that has it that can't play this week. And so you got to go get guys off the street, and you got to go, what I say, the replacements. It's going to be something like the replacements this year.
We certainly hope that. I know that you've had your own since we've talked to you. I know in your family you've had your own personal struggles with COVID-19. It's affected you personally, and just know that you're in our prayers for that. Brandon, absolutely. And we've talked about a guy like Malcolm Jenkins as a guy that's been extremely versatile, a very diverse leader, and all that. Did you ever think you would hear Malcolm Jenkins' safety also be termed as Malcolm Jenkins' CNN correspondent?
No, I did not. I never knew, especially while he's playing. I can see that after the fact, but not while he's playing.
Yeah, I knew the guy wanted to be a leader and more of a public spokesperson, and I didn't think it'd be correspondent for CNN. But he also came out recently and took some heat for saying that right now the NFL, he doesn't see it as being an essential business. How do you view it as another NFL player?
Well, it's straight business, it's a business for real, and so and I think a lot of people put their work in, in this league. You might not like everything that goes on with the league, but I think that not to go against him at all, just as far as because his opinion,
sure.
I respect his opinion, but it's like like for me, I always just try to keep it, straight business and straight. I know what I'm getting myself into with the league, and we got to make sure we protect that shield. And so I understand, Malcolm has his feelings towards it, and it's just one of those things where you're not gonna make everybody happy, and I just think that's what it is.
Do you think, bottom line, it's an essential business?
I mean, you could say it both ways. I just, I try to stay away from all the political stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I do, back my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I hear what you're saying. So let me ask you this: have you ever walked in on your mother-in-law in the toilet?
Yes, I did.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God, Brandon. Because Brandon, it just happened to me last night. It was the first time it's happened. I've been with my wife for 10 years. We've been married for 2, and it just happened. Are you okay? How long did it take you to recover?
Are you okay?
Well, man, luckily it wasn't a number 2. It was but I hurried up and got out of there fast.
Brandon, hey, man. So you're feeling right now we can all be looking forward to a 2020 season?
Yeah, on time and everybody ready to go. And hopefully, we can see what baseball, how they do it with no fans. And then basketball, once we're in camp, once the games start in August, you can kind of get a gauge on how it's going to be. And so I'm waiting on those guys to get started and see how everything just kind of plays out.
Brandon, I'll tell you right now, I just looked at another list. Doug Peterson was ranked as low as 9 on this list.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that means he got to have that chip on his shoulder. It's all good. Keep that chip on your shoulder. Keep on working and getting your players to believe in everything that you throwing out there. And you'll have a strong team, which we always do. So I'm excited for this year, so he can go prove it again.
All right. Brandon Graham, always great catching up with you. I'm going to tell you right now, if I hear Fletcher Cox or anybody else trying to snitch you out, we're going to go to the source, all right? We're going to go to you to defend your good name.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on at first until Fletch had Fletch them sent me they added me on Instagram, and then I heard them. Okay. Now I got him.
Hey, Brandon, before you go, Crystal Rich in for NBC Sports Philadelphia. Since we're talking about fart spray, I mean, I never thought I'd say that as a journalist, but the nose detector test, is the real thing much different from the liquid ass spray, as some people like to call it?
Nose detector test. You're the first person. You're the first person I'd have heard about. Say that nose detector test. Oh, I gotta check that one out.
I'll coin it, but the question is, can you tell the difference between the real bodily gas and the spray? You said the spray lasts for a couple of days.
Yeah, the spray, you can kind of tell that it's something off with it. You know what I'm saying? It's a bad smell for sure, but you can tell after a while that it's kind of like something that was like sprayed, or it's like ugh, but that first initial one, people like, man, who passed gas? And then they like, man, that's not no gas, that's something else, and so they don't know how to put their finger on it. But I do know that
not pull your finger.
Well, yeah, right. They just don't know. It is a difference though, because it don't last as long regular fart than the spray.
And you say something's a little off, like someone ate too much asparagus the night before. Or...
It just smelled like something is rotten. It's like, ooh, because I always say, ooh. So people think something that's inside the trash can, they all remove it out the locker room.
Well, I feel like a total journalist today. Thank you.
Brandon, you're the best, man. I can't thank you enough for coming on with us and having some fun, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all.
All right,
thanks, buddy.
Good luck, Brandon Graham.
Mark Farzetta with Bob Cooney and Jamie Lynch. Mornings on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.